Chapter 15 of the Ramayana. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. The Ramayana by Valmiki. Translated by Ralph T. H. Griffith. Chapter 15. Book 1, Cantos 72 to 77. Canto 72. The Gift of Kine. When royal Janak's words were done, joined with Vasishtha Kusik's son, the mighty sage began his speech. No mind may soar, no thought can reach the glories of Ikshvaku's line, or great Videha's king of thine. None in the whole wide world may vie with them in fame and honours high. Well matched, I ween, in holy bands, these peerless pairs will join their hands. But hear me as I speak once more. Thy brother, skilled in duty's lore, has at his home a royal pair of daughters most divinely fair. I for the hands of these sweet two, for Bharat and Satrugna sue, both princes of heroic mould, wise, fair of form, and lofty souled. Of Dasarata's sons I ween, own each young grace of form and mien, brave as the gods, as they nor yield to the great lords the world's who shield. By these, good prince of merits high, Ikshvaku's house with thine ally. The suit the holy sage preferred, with willing ear the monarch heard. Vasishtha's lips the counsel praised, then spake the king with hands upraised. Now blessed indeed my race I deem, which your high will, O saints supreme, with Dasarata's house unites in bonds of love and marriage rites. So be it done, my nieces twain, let Bharat and Satrugna gain, and the four youths the self-same day, for maiden hands in theirs shall lay. No day so lucky may compare, for marriage so the wise declare, with the last day of Phalguni, ruled by the genial deity. Then with raised hands in reverence due to those arch saints he spoke anew. I am your pupil ever true, to me high favour have ye shown. Come sit ye on my royal throne, for Dasarata rules these towers, e'en as Ayodhya now is ours. Do with your own whate'er ye choose, your lordship here will none refuse. He spoke unto Videha's king, thus Dasarata answering: Boundless your virtues, lords, whose sway the realms of Mithila obey. With honouring care you entertain both holy sage and royal train. Now to my house my steps I bend, may blessings still on you attend, due offerings to the shades to pay. Thus spoke the king, and turned away. To Janak first he bade adieu, then followed fast those holy two. The monarch reached his palace where the rites were paid with solemn care. When the next sun began to shine, he rose and made his gift of kine. A bundled 1,000 cows prepared, for each young prince the Brahmans shared. Each had her horns adorned with gold, and duly was the number told. 400,000 perfect tale. Each brought a calf, each filled a pail. And when that glorious task was o'er, the monarch with his children four showed like the Lord of life divine, when the world's guardians round him shine. Canto 73. The Nuptials. On that same day that saw the king his gift of kine distributing, the lord of Kekaya's sons by name, Yudhajit Bharat's uncle came, asked of the monarch's health, and then addressed the reverend king of men. The lord of Kekaya's realm by me sends greeting, noble king, to thee. Asks if the friends thy prayers would bless, uninterrupted health possess. Right anxious mighty king is he, my sister's princely boy to see. For this I sought Ayodhya fair, the message of my sire to bear. There learning, O my liege, that thou with sons and noble kinsmen now wast resting here, I sought the place, longing to see my nephew's face. The king with kind observance cheered his friend, by tender ties endeared, and every choicest honour pressed upon his honourable guest. That night with all his children spent, at morning King Dasarata went behind Vasishtha and the rest, to the fair ground for rites addressed. Then when the lucky hour was nigh, called victory of omen high, came Rama, after vow and prayer, for nuptial bliss and fortune fair, with the three youths in bright attire. To Janak then Vasishtha sped, and to Videha's monarch said, O King, Ayodhya's ruler now has breathed the prayer and vowed the vow, and with his sons expecting stands the giver of the maiden's hands. The giver and the taker both must ratify a mutual oath, perform the part for which we wait, and rites of marriage celebrate. Skilled in the laws which scriptures teach, he answered thus Vasishtha's speech: O saint, what warder bars the gate, whose bidding can the king await? In one's own house what doubt is shown? This kingdom, sage, is all thine own. E'en now the maidens may he found within the sacrificial ground. Each vow is vowed and prayed each prayer, and they like fire are shining there. Here by the shrine my place I took, expecting thee with eager look. No bar the nuptial rites should stay, what cause have we for more delay? When Janak's speech the monarch heard, to sons and saints he gave the word, and set them in the holy ring. Then to Vasishtha spoke the king: Of Mithila, O mighty sage, now let this task thy care engage, and lend thine aid in counsel wise, the nuptial rites to solemnize. The saint Vasishtha gave assent, and quickly to the task he went, with Vishvamitra nothing both, and Satananda aiding both. Then as the rules prescribed they made an altar in the midst, and laid fresh wreaths of fragrant flowers thereon. The golden ladles round it shone, and many a vase, which branches hid, fixed in the perforated lid, and sprays and cups and censers there stood filled with incense rich and rare. Shell bowls and spoons and salvers dressed with gifts that greet the honoured guest. Piles of parched rice some dishes bore, others with corn prepared ran o'er, and holy grass was duly spread in equal lengths while prayers were said. Next chief of saints Vasishtha came, and laid the offering in the flame. Then by the hand King Janak drew his Sita beautiful to view, and placed her bright in rich attire Rama to face before the fire. Thus speaking to the royal boy, who filled Kausalya's heart with joy: Here Sita stands, my daughter fair, the duties of thy life to share. Take from her father, take thy bride, join hand in hand and bliss betide. A faithful wife, most blessed is she, and as thy shade will follow thee. Then as he spoke the monarch threw o'er her young limbs the holy dew, while gods and saints were heard to swell the joyous cry, "'Tis well, 'tis well!" His daughter Sita thus bestowed, o'er whom the sacred drops had flowed. King Janak's heart with rapture flowed. Then to Prince Lakshman thus he cried: Take Urmila, thine offered bride, and clasp her hand within thine own, ere yet the lucky hour be flown. Then to Prince Bharat thus cried he: Come take the hand of Mandavi. Then to Satrugna in thy grasp the hand of Srutakirti clasp. Now Raghu's sons, may all of you be gentle to your wives and true. Keep well the vows you make today, nor let occasion slip away. King Janak's words the youths obeyed, the maidens' hands in theirs they laid. Then with their brides the princes went, with ordered steps and reverent, bound both the Tyre and Janak round the sages and the sacred ground. A flowery flood of lucid dyes in rain descended from the skies, while with celestial voices blent sweet strains from many an instrument, and the nymphs danced in joyous throng, responsive to the minstrel's song. Such signs of exultation they saw on the prince's wedding day. Still rang the heavenly music sound, when Raghu's sons thrice circled round the fire, each one with reverent head, and homeward then their brides they led. They to the sumptuous palace hied, that Janac's care had seen supplied. The monarch girt with saint and peer, still fondly gazing followed near. Canto 74. Rama with the Axe. Soon as the night had reached its close, the hermit Visvamitra rose. To both the kings he bade adieu, and to the northern hill withdrew. Ayodhya's lord of high renown received farewell and sought his town. Then as each daughter left her bower, King Janak gave a splendid dower. Bugs, precious silks, a warrior force, cars, elephants, and foot and horse, divine to see and well arrayed, and many a skilful tiring maid, and many a young and trusty slave the father of the ladies gave. Silver and coral, gold and pearls, he gave to his beloved girls. These precious gifts the king bestowed, and sped his guest upon his road. The lord of Mithila's sweet town rode to his court and lighted down. Ayodhya's monarch, glad and gay, led by the seers, pursued his way. With his dear sons of lofty mind, the royal army marched behind. As on he fared, the voice he heard around of many a dismal bird, and every beast in wild affright began to hurry to the right. The monarch to Vasishtha cried, "What strange misfortune will betide? Why do the beasts in terror fly, and birds of evil omen cry? What is it shakes my heart with dread? Why is my soul disquieted?" Soon as he heard the mighty saint thus answered Dasarata's plaint, in sweetest tone, "Now, monarch, mark, and learn from me the meaning dark. The voices of the birds of air great peril to the host declare. The moving beasts the dread allay, so drive thy whelming fear away." As he and Dasarata spoke, a tempest from the welkin broke, that shook the spacious earth amain, and hurled high trees upon the plain. The sun grew dark with murky cloud, and o'er the skies was cast a shroud, while o'er the army, faint with dread, a veil of dust and ashes spread. King, princes, saints their sense retained, fear stupefied, the rest remained. At length their wits returning all, beneath the gloom and ashy pall, saw Jamadagni's son with dread, his long hair twisted round his head, who, sprung from Bhrigu, loved to beat the proudest kings beneath his feet. Firm as Kailasa's hill he showed, fierce as the fire of doom he glowed. His axe upon his shoulder lay, his bow was ready for the fray. With thirsty arrows wont to fly, like lightnings from the angry sky, a long keen arrow forth he drew, invincible like those which flew from Shiva's ever-conquering bow, and Tripura in death laid low. When his wild form that struck with awe, fearful as ravening flame, they saw, Vasishtha and the saints who care was sacrifice and muttered prayer, drew close together each to each, and questioned thus with bated speech, indignant at his father's fate. Will he on warriors vent his hate, the slayers of his father slay, and sweep the loathed race away? But when of old his fury raged, seas of their blood his wrath assuaged, so doubtless now he has not planned to slay all warriors in the land. Then with a gift the saints drew near to Bhrigu's son, whose look was fear, and Rama, Rama, soft they cried. The gift he took, no word replied. Then Bhrigu's son his silence broke, and thus to Rama, Rama spoke. Canto 75. The Parley. Heroic Rama, men proclaim the marvels of thy matchless fame, and I from loud-voiced rumour know the exploit of the broken bow. Yea, bent and broken, mighty chief, a feat most wondrous past belief. Stirred by thy fame, thy face I sought, a peerless bow I too have brought. This mighty weapon, strong and dire, great Jamadagni owned my sire. Draw with its shaft thy father's bow, and thus thy might, O Rama, show. This proof of prowess let me see, the weapon bent and drawn by thee. Then single fight our strength shall try, and this shall raise thy glory high. King Dasharatha heard with dread the boastful speech, and thus he said, raising his hands in suppliant guise, with pallid cheek and timid eyes. Forgetful of the bloody feud, ascetic toils hast thou pursued. Then, Brahman, let thy children be untroubled and from danger free, sprung of the race of Bhrigu, who read holy law to vows most true. Thou swearest to the thousand-eyed, and thy fierce axe was cast aside. Thou turnedst to thy rights away, leaving the earth to Kasyap's sway, and wentest far a grove to seek beneath Mahendra's mountain peak. Now, mighty hermit, art thou here to slay us all with doom severe? For if alone my Rama fall, we share his fate and perish all. As thus the aged sire complained, the mighty chief no answer deigned. To Rama only thus he cried, two bows, the heavenly artist's pride, celestial, peerless, vast and strong, by all the worlds were honoured long. One to the three-eyed god was given, by glory to the conflict driven. Thus armed fierce Tripura he slew, and then by thee 'twas burst in two. The second bow which few may brave, the highest gods to Vishnu gave. This bow I hold, before it fall the foeman's fenced tower and wall. Then prayed the gods, the sire most high, by some unerring proof to try, were praise from might's Lord Vishnu's due, or his whose neck is stained with blue. The mighty sire their wishes knew, and he whose lips are ever true caused the two gods to meet as foes. Then fierce the rage of battle rose, bristled in dread each starting hair, as Shiva strove with Vishnu there. But Vishnu raised his voice amain, and Shiva's bowstring twanged in vain. Its master of the three bright eyes stood fixed in fury and surprise. Then all the dwellers in the sky, minstrel and saint and god, drew nigh, and prayed them that the strife might cease, and the great rivals met in peace. 'Twas seen how Shiva's bow has failed, unnerved when Vishnu's might assailed, and gods and heavenly sages thence to Vishnu gave preeminence. Then glorious Shiva in his rage gave it to Devarat the sage, who ruled Videha's fertile land, to pass it down from hand to hand. But this my bow, whose shaft smite down the foeman's fenced tower and town, to great Richika Vishnu lent, to be a pledge and ornament. Then Jamadagni, Brahman dread, my sire the bow inherited. But Arjun stooped to treachery vile, and slew my noble sire by guile, whose penance awful strength had gained, whose hand the God-given bow retained. I heard indignant how he fell, by mournful fate, too sad to tell. My vengeful fury since that time scourges all warriors for the crime. As generations spring to life, I wore them down in endless strife. All earth I brought beneath my sway, and gave it for his meed and pay. To holy Kasyap, when of yore the rites performed by him were o'er, then to Mahendra's hill I turned, strong in the strength that penance earned, and toiled upon his lofty head, by gods immortal visited. The breaking of the bow I knew, from startled gods conversing through the airy regions of thy deed, and hither came with swiftest speed. Now for thy warriors' honour's sake, this best of bows, O Rama, take. this owned by Vishnu's self of old, my sire and grandsire loved to hold, drawn to its head upon the string, one town destroying arrow bring. If this thou can, O hero, I in single fight thy strength will try. Canto 76. Debarred from Heaven. The haughty challenge undeterred, the son of Dasarata heard, and cried while reverence for his sire checked the full torrent of his ire. Before this day have I been told the deed that stained thy hands of old, but pity bids my soul forget. Thy father murdered, claimed the debt. My strength, O chief, thou deemest slight, too feeble for a warrior's might. Now will I show thy wondering eyes the prowess which they dare despise. He hastened then with graceful ease that mighty blow and shaft to seize. His hand the weapon strung and swayed, the arrow on the string was laid. Then Jamadagni's son he eyed, and thus in words of fury cried, Thou art a Brahman still to be, most highly honoured chief by me. For Vishvamitra's sake beside, shall reverence due be ne'er denied. Though mine the power, I would not send a dart to thee thy life to end, but thy great power to wander free, which penance rites have won for thee, or glorious worlds from thee to wrest, is the firm purpose of my breast. And Vishnu's dart, which now I strain, can ne'er be shot to fall in vain. It strikes the mighty, and it stuns the madness of the haughty ones. Then gods and saints and heavenly choir, preceded by the general sire, met in the air and gazed below on Rama with that wondrous bow. Nymph, minstrel, angel, all were there, snake god and spirit of the air. Giant and bard and griffin met, their eyes upon the marvel set. In senseless hush the world was chained, while Rama's hand the bow retained. And Jamadagni's son amazed, and powerless on the hero gazed. Then when his swelling heart had shrunk, and his proud strength in torpor sunk, scarce his voice ventured low and weak to Rama lotus-eyed to speak. When long ago I gave away the whole broad land to Kasyap's sway, he charged me never to remain within the limits of his reign. Obedient to my guide's behest, on earth by night I never rest. My choice is made, I will not dim mine honour and be false to him. So, son of Raghu, leave me still the power to wander where I will, and swifter than the thought my flight shall place me on Mahendra's height. My mansions of eternal joy by penance won thou mayest destroy. My path to these thy shaft may stay. Now to the work, no more delay. I know thee, Lord of gods, I know thy changeless might laid Madhu low. All other hands would surely fail to bend this bow. All hail, all hail! See, all the gods have left the skies to bend on thee their eager eyes. With those achievements none compete, whose arm in war no god can meet. No shame is mine, I ween, for thou, Lord of the worlds, hast dimmed my brow. Now, pious Rama, 'tis thy part to shoot afar that glorious dart. I, when the fatal shaft is shot, will seek that hill and tarry not. He ceased, the wondrous arrow flew, and Jamadagni's offspring knew those glorious worlds to him were barred, once gained by penance long and hard. Then straight the airy quarters cleared, and the mid-regions bright appeared, while gods and saints unnumbered praised Rama the mighty bow who raised. And Jamadagni's son, O Lord, extolled his name with highest laud. With reverent steps around him strode, then hastened on his airy road, Far from the sight of all he fled, and rested on Mahendra's head. Canto 77. Bharat's departure. Then Rama with a cheerful mind the bow to Varun's hand resigned, due reverence to the saints he paid, and thus addressed his sire dismayed: As Bhrigu's son is far from view, now let the host its march pursue, and to Ayodhya's town proceed, in fourfold bands with thee to lead. King Dasharatha thus addressed, his lips to Rama's forehead pressed, and held him to his aged breast. Rejoiced in sooth was he to know that Bhrigu's son had parted so, and hailed a second life begun for him and his victorious son. He urged the host to speed renewed, and soon Ayodhya's gates he viewed. High o'er the roofs gay pennons played, tabor and drum loud music made. Fresh water cooled the royal road, and flowers in bright profusion glowed. Glad crowds with garlands thronged the ways, rejoicing on their king to gaze. And all the town was bright and gay, exulting in the festive day. People and Brahmans flocked to meet their monarch ere he gained the street. The glorious king amid the throng rode with his glorious sons along, and passed within his dear abode, that like Himalaya's mountain showed. And there Kausalya, noble queen, Sumitra with her lovely mien, Kaikeyi of the dainty waist, and other dames his bowers who graced, stood in the palace side by side, and welcomed home each youthful bride. Fair Sita, lovely fated dame, Urmila of the glorious fame, and Kusadwaja's children fair, with joyous greeting and with prayer, as all in linen robes arrayed, with offerings at the altars prayed, due reverence paid to God above. Each princess gave her soul to love, and hidden in her inmost bower, passed with her lord each blissful hour. The royal youths of spirit high, with whom in valor none shall vie, lived each within his palace bounds, bright as Kuvera's pleasure grounds, with riches, troops of faithful friends, and bliss that wedded life attends. Brave princes trained in warlike skill, and duteous to their father's will. At length the monarch called one morn Prince Bharat of Kaikeyi born, and cried, My son, within our gates Lord Yudhajit thine uncle waits. The son of Kikaya's king is he, and came, my child, to summon thee. Then Bharat for the road prepared, and with Satrughna forth he fared. First to his sire he bade adieu, brave Rama with his mothers two. Lord Yudhajit with joyful pride went forth, the brothers by his side, and reached the city where he dwelt, and mighty joy his father felt. Rama and Lakshman honoured still their godlike sire with duteous will. Two constant guides for Rama stood, his father's wish, the people's good. Attentive to the general weal, he thought and wrought to please and heal. His mothers too he strove to please, with love and sonly courtesies. At every time, in every spot, his holy guides he ne'er forgot. So for his virtues kind and true, dearer and dearer Rama grew. To Dasharatha Brahmans all, in town and country, great and small. And Rama by his darling's side saw many a blissful season glide. Lodged in her soul each thought on her, lover and friend and worshipper. He loved her for his father's voice had given her and approved the choice. He loved her for each charm she wore, and in her sweet virtues more and more. So he, her lord and second life, dwelt in the bosom of his wife, in double form that e'en apart each heart could commune free with heart. Still grew that child of Janak's race, more goddess fair in form and face, the loveliest wife that e'er was seen, in mortal mould sweet beauty's queen. Then shone the sun Kausalya bore, with this bright dame allied, like Vishnu whom the gods adore, with Lakshmi, by his side. End of Section 15. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. Recorded in London, England.